what's going on in the ACC. And I know we've talked a lot about the ACC this week, but I think we have come to a point now where, from what our sources are telling us in the ACC, they're just crossing the T's and dotting the I's. And already Crown Clemson is about ready to add Stanford, Cal, and SMU. And it really is a difference-making week again, it feels like, in college football. The ACC is done as we know it. The ACC that you've come to know and probably hate, with their 50-year grant of rights through 2036, is going to forever alter their history, I think, before end of business tomorrow when they add Stanford, Cal, and SMU. And right now, from what we've been told, they are simply arguing about who gets the lion's share of the new revenue. Because when you're looking at the ACC and you're looking at the issues that have plagued the ACC over the last 2 years, obviously the squeaky wheel has been Florida State complaining about unequal revenue shares. Well, from what we're told, Clemson, Florida State, North Carolina are all trying to get their share of all of this new money that's coming in with these three new teams. And I think once that gets done, and I think that will be done today or the early part of tomorrow, they will have a president's conference call, from what I'm told, in the first half of the day tomorrow in the ACC to knock this thing out, is the verbiage that was used. I think this gets done. I think Florida State, Clemson, and North Carolina will get a bump in revenue. The remaining pot will be split amongst the members in the conference. You will add Stanford and Cal on a half share, and SMU will take no money from the conference for 7 years, which is still truly amazing to me. Jake, is it really history in the making in the ACC?
Yeah, I think it's a continuation of college football history that's been made this summer. You know, I think that, you know, the ACC is just the latest example of a conference that, you know, understands that, you know, the landscape is changing and, you know, understands that there are options out there. There are opportunities for them to pick up, you know, new schools and bring in new voices into the conference. And I think they just want to make sure that they do it the right way, and they want to make sure that they appease the big boys in the conference, because ultimately that is what reliability looks like in the modern era of college football athletics, or college football and just college athletics. Like, you got to keep your big members and your largest schools happy, because if they stay happy, typically your conference is going to continue to go on. And when we talk about, you know, a grant of rights that goes on until 2036, and the idea that Florida State has been trying to, you know, basically scheme behind the scenes to break out of this conference and cause unrest, I think this move, it really kind of, you know, once it's done and official, obviously, this move could bring some stability for the next several years. And I think that's all the ACC is really trying to do, because ultimately, if you can't get to, you know, even 2030 as a conference, what good is that grant of rights? Because that to me, if you're the ACC, is the conversation. Hey, how long are we going to actually fulfill this grant of rights? Or, you know, is it a thing where right around 2030, maybe 31 or 32, you know, TV deals in other conferences are going to begin to get renegotiated and redone, and members in our conference are going to be unhappy because, yet again, they're left high and dry on revenue. That's what I think the ACC is worried about. So, yeah, I think them getting additional revenue out of ESPN for Calford, and SMU being willing to take nothing for 7 years, which is still incredible to me. Yeah, these are all steps to try to fortify yourself for the next cycle of contract negotiations. And I think if you're the ACC, it is smart, but I think for them, this was all that was left after the Big 12 did what it did, and after the Big 10 came through and picked up what they picked up. Because ultimately, the ACC, to me, is behind now. You know, to me, yeah, it is a good conference, but the Big 12 and the Big 10 and the SEC have all the momentum, and I feel like the ACC is just trying to keep up with those three at this point.
Yeah, and I think we need to be careful here, because I think when you look at this conversation around breaking up the ACC, I still think Florida State and Clemson are going to try and do that. Mm-hmm. I don't think you're ever going to placate them. I don't think there's any chance in the world that Florida State is going to be happy with this, whether they just get a lump sum bump in yearly revenue, or if the ACC decides the better route to go is those who make the college football playoff get a lion's share of the revenue. Whichever way you want to slice the pie, that's up to you.
Right.
But let's not sit here and pretend that this is a solution for the squeaky wheel, as I call Florida State. They're perennially unhappy. They will never be satisfied. And you could put them in the Big Ten and you can give them $100 million at day one. They're still going to be unhappy because that's who Florida State is. They're never the top dog. They're not looked at as a top dog. Hell, they're not looked at as a contender to be the top dog.
Right.
And Florida State looks at themselves as the kings of the world, and they're simply not. And I think that's why you see Florida State continues to be the one that just gripes and moans and complains. That one that you don't want to pick up the phone when you see Florida State is calling you. You don't want to pick up the phone because that's not a conversation you want to have because it's never fulfilling. That's the problem with Florida State. But I think one of the other talking points that you really have to pay close attention to is that when you look at this expansion, and I am told that the ACC expects to nail this down in large part tomorrow, one of the real conversations is ESPN and Fox killing the Pac-12. And I'm curious how many people believe that that is the case. Because when you look at the facts of the case, it is not in dispute that ESPN is going to have most, if not all, of the football inventory attached to the exiting members of the Pac-12. And the only games that they're not going to have are Oregon and Washington, USC, and UCLA. But they're going to have all of the Big 12. They're going to have all of the ACC. ESPN and Fox could easily have made the decision to pay the Pac-12. But I think one of the things that is lost in this entire conversation is ESPN and Fox saw more value in a consolidated college football world that they controlled, where they didn't have to do business with people as difficult as the Pac-12. And I wonder, is that a good thing or a bad thing? Because I don't think there was ever a decision made by ESPN and Fox that was simply, we're going to kill off the Pac-12. I don't think it was as blunt as that. Mm-hmm. I think it very simply was, I don't see us making a deal with the Pac-12, so we need to shore up our relationships with the ACC and the Big 12. And what do you note about both of those relationships, specifically with ESPN? That ESPN has a pro rata clause in both of those contracts. And now you're seeing that ESPN is greasing the skids to add Stanford and Cal, just as they did with the four corner schools in the Big 12.
Yeah.
This is not surprising at all. And if you have not been paying attention, we've talked about this for the better part of 8 months now, that ESPN, while it did not actively work to put, the final nail in the coffin of the Pac-12, it certainly did nothing to help bolster that conference. And I think there is the word blame. I think blame is probably strong, but there absolutely is culpability, if you will, responsibility for the undoing and the death of the Pac-12 in Bristol. There's no doubt about that. ESPN, I think even more than Fox, because Fox from day one was never going to be a Tier 1 rights partner. They told the Pac-12 that. They told the Big 12 that. Fox didn't want to be in the Tier 1 business outside of the Big 10. And you understand that Fox has a significant ownership stake in the Big 10 network. That makes perfect sense. But Fox was very honest early and upfront with the Big 12 and the Pac-12. And ESPN, I'm not willing to say was upfront and honest with the Pac-12. I think they went to the Big 12, from what our sources told us and what my opinion is over the last year. ESPN and to a lesser extent Fox went to the Big 12 and said there's a window in time here. You should probably think about taking advantage of that. And did they ever take advantage of that? And it ultimately led to the death of the Pac-12. But I think in this grand scheme of expansion and realignment in college football, I think we all need to have a real understanding of who the winners and losers are, because the conferences are not the winners and losers. The winners and losers are the TV networks. And there is no question with how much money Fox and ESPN have paid out in the last month. They could easily have put that money in the Pac-12, and they made an unconscious decision not to do that. And, Jake, I think there's responsibility there.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that the Pac-12 didn't do themselves any favors by asking for $50 million a year per school.
No, they did not.
And I think that, I think not understanding the power that ESPN and Fox have to sway conversations, I think, is a dangerous game. I mean, again, yeah, you're spot on. I don't think ESPN said, yeah, we want to just kill the Pac-12. But I do think ESPN was like, yeah, they want $50 million a year per school, and we're nowhere near that. And frankly, the way they came off, because that's kind of the sense that I got at that time when all that reporting came out. Like, hey, George and the Pac-12 are asking $50 million a year per school. That's a lot of money, dude. Like, that's over the top. And the problem is not that ESPN didn't have the money, but more that the premise of spending the money on a product that they didn't believe would bring them ROI. Because ultimately, that's the game that ESPN and any television network are in. Hey, if I'm going to spend $1 to secure the rights to this game, I need to be able to sell the commercial sales space on that game for $5, $6, $7, or even $10, right? So we got to make $9 in profit on that game, and that's the business that ESPN is in. So if George and the Pac-12 are going to come with $50 a year per school, we're just not all that interested, and we feel like we can make a play with the Big 12 and move that along. And I think that's ultimately what happened. And ultimately, the Pac-12 got two chances because they had that first conversation. Then there was another conversation where, ESPN broached the idea of the Big 12 and the Pac-12 merging and coming together to form, a super conference, for lack of a better label.
Correct.
So the Pac-12 didn't do themselves any favors, but ESPN didn't help them either. And they didn't have any reason to help them. To which I say, that's why the ACC wants to expand. That's why the ACC, I think, wants to keep its biggest members happy.
That's why the ACC has the ability to expand.
Well, that too, yeah.
And I think it's really interesting that when you look at this whole situation with ESPN, and I do think it's ESPN. I think it's to a much lesser extent Fox.
Yeah.
I think ESPN just, in my opinion, got tired of the BS that comes along with George Kliavkoff in the Pac-12.
Mm-hmm.
And call it arrogance, call it whatever you want. ESPN made a decision not to be business partners any longer with the Pac-12. And I just can't say I blame them. That's why I say responsibility is the word. I don't think blame or fault belongs to ESPN when it comes to the failure and the death of the Pac-12. I simply put it as ESPN made a decision to no longer do business with the Pac-12 on a substantial level. Obviously, as we've reported, ESPN made a much lower dollar figure offer than had previously, been put forward, and you understand that.
Yeah.
And you wound up in a situation where the Pac-12 was at Apple in a deal that was going to ultimately kill them anyway. But I don't know. I think it's just very interesting that the Big 12 is clearly one of the winners in college football expansion or
Absolutely.
College realignment. There's no doubt. I think the Big 10 is a winner, no question about it, when you can add USC, UCLA, Oregon, and Washington. No question about it.
Yep.
I'm not willing to sit here today, even if we theorize that Stanford, Cal, and SMU go into the ACC, which I think will happen. I don't believe the ACC is a winner in expansion.
Yeah, because the biggest difference is the ACC is not getting schools that can win championships in college football. That's the biggest difference, right? I mean, if we're being honest, like the Big 12 got that, right? The Big 10 certainly got that, already had it, frankly. And I look at this and I say, okay, so now and if we want to be generous about it, when I look at conferences, who won and who lost in realignment, well, the winners clearly are the ones that are still at the table having the conversation. But the problem...
But I also think the problem for the ACC is they're stuck with Florida State.
Yeah, but Florida State's not doing anything. That's like Florida State's a school that thinks they're the badass in the room, and they haven't won nearly enough in recent times to justify that kind of attitude. I mean, I get it. Like, and I know Florida State fan, go ahead, be all pissed off about it. Dude, yeah, you have a strong brand. You sell out the football stadium. You could be an SEC school, but Florida's never going to let that happen. Like, yes, you are a good brand. I agree with that. You have value in that sense. But you're not in the same ilk as Clemson. You're not in the same ilk as any of the top-end SEC schools. You're not Ohio State. You're not... you could make a case that you are Michigan. You could make a case, but Michigan went pretty far last year. So... I look at FSU and I say, okay, man, you can keep being that guy, but at some point that's going to come back to get you.
Yeah. I just look at Florida State as a problem because they're just that. It's the Nick Saban thing we talked about yesterday. Let's get all the guys on the bus in the right seats so that we can roll forward. Florida State's never going to sit down.
Florida State has this attitude that they've been doing that at such a proficient level that they should get paid way more than everyone else.
I agree.
And it's like, you haven't been. You just simply haven't been. And everyone and their mom is putting them, Brett McMurphy putting them, I think, third in the college football playoff or whatever he did. Like I don't know what they're seeing. I don't know what they're looking at.
Well, but the problem for me with FSU is that this is a university that should be what's right with the ACC.
Correct.
Like Florida State should be a college football powerhouse. Florida State has a tradition and a history, whether it's Prime or Bobby Bowden or the list is forever long of great Florida State football players. Charlie Ward, like, I'm here for it. Mm-hmm. They have a good basketball brand. I'm here for it. Their brand in total, I'm here for it.
Facts.
But they just feel like those neighbors, those God next door, they just won't shut up. They won't turn the music down. They won't go to bed. They don't cut their grass. They just seem like a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
And it really, until they get to the college football playoff, until they win a college football playoff game, and then you can talk. But they're just, and I don't know that Mike Norvell's that guy. I don't know that he is the football coach at Florida State.
Yeah.
Maybe he is, maybe he isn't. I don't think he is, but we'll find out. But they should be absolutely part of what's great about the ACC, and they're not. And that will always be the issue. And I don't think, and I would love to get your thoughts in the comments section, I don't view the ACC as better off.
Yeah.
Excuse me. As I do certainly the Big 12 and the Big 10.
Yeah, well, and that's kind of what I mean about momentum. Like, the SEC didn't need to get involved in this round of expansion or realignment. I mean, obviously they're adding Texas and OU, but what I mean is like this most recent, of adding of schools out of the Big 10, the Big 12, and potentially the ACC, as soon as tomorrow. Like, I think that the Big 10 and the Big 12 clearly have forward momentum that's pushing them. But again, I'm just telling you guys, the X factor in the next, because it's 2023, the next 5 years, the next 4 years are when we're going to figure out just how long that ACC grant of rights is going to hang around. Because, again, if these three conferences pull away from the ACC schools are not going to hesitate to make a change because they know that they're UNC and they're Duke and they're Virginia and they're FSU and Clemson. They know that they could find homes, which I think is a very different situation than what the Pac-12 was kind of working with. The Pac-12 obviously had schools that could find homes in other places, but they also had a third, maybe a quarter of that conference that would struggle to find a home.
Yeah.
And I think that's a big difference in contrast. So the ACC schools, in my opinion, if you're an ACC school right now, you don't mind this wave of expansion, if you will. But I think ultimately you're going to sit here and you're going to say, okay, dude, we got to get Dabo, and we got to get Florida State into the college football playoff as much as possible in the next 5 years. It has to happen, and you would think it would with the expanded college football playoff, but again, you still got to go and do it.
Yeah. I don't know. I'm not trying to pound Florida State, but I go back to this. This is BetMGM's win totals. And, I mean, you look at Florida State, expectations at 9.5. They're in a class with USC and Clemson, and you look at, Florida State is plus 135. Mm-hmm. To go under. Clemson's plus 140. You look at conference odds. Florida State is 170. Like, there's expectations. They're above the Penn States, the Texases, the LSUs. They're above the Oklahomas and the Oregons. Like, there are real expectations on Florida State, not only to represent, but to carry the ACC. Will that happen? I don't know. But oddly, as we sit here, note that Texas is your highest Big 12 university there. Mm-hmm. And then Oklahoma. And they're both not going to be there next year.
Well, and I think that speaks to these odds, right? Because again, I'm a big believer that the odds are not actually indicative of what the team's going to do. They're indicative of how much money Vegas is trying to make.
There's no doubt that Vegas sets lines to make people wager.
Yeah.
But I'm telling you now that they're not going to put Florida State at 9.5 if there are not significant expectations that that's a 10-win team.
But yes, there's expectations. But how likely are those expectations to actually come true? Yes, they've only got 2 ranked teams on their schedule this year, but that doesn't mean that they're, auto spot for 10 wins or even 9 wins.
I would tell you I would take the under.
Yeah.
I mean, there's no doubt about that. I would take the under. All right, let's get some of your thoughts in here on the Monty Show. Why don't we start out with the best news of all, and that is when we add a new member to the show, Illuminerdski. Illuminerdski.
Who the f*** is that guy?
Good to see you, Ski. Good to see you. Appreciate it. Hey, man. I can't call him Illuminerdski.
Illuministski?
No. Nerdski. Illuminerdski.
I think it's just Nerdski. How about that?
How about Ski? Good to see you, Ski. Appreciate you being a member of the program. Make sure you hit the join button for $1.99. All your comments get highlighted and read. As you guys are aware, we always read member comments before anybody else. For $9.99 a month, you get into our Instagram members only group, which is growing by the day and is spectacular. We were arguing about Lionel Messi's greatness last night, and Boss Frog was showing off his new Porsche. So, it's a group of high rollers, that much is for sure.
I'm for real.
Expedition Greg gives us $2 to say congrats on 25K. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Please hit the like button, everybody. T. Higgins is a badass for $5. Do you think any of those SMU boosters have any interest in adopting a husky 53-year-old with bad eyesight? I'm sure they do. Pick up the phone. They're going to get 7 years. The boosters are going to support SMU sports for 7 years.
We're only here for one reason.
That's wild. That is absolutely wild.
It's nuts.
It's a ton of money. Tarrant County Pete.
Wow.
Hello, Tarrant County.
Hey, Tarrant County.
If the ACC realized SMU was 9th most popular D1 in Dallas, but wait, that would mean that SMU doesn't deliver. That can't be. SMU fan has been on the show, and they've promised us that they deliver Dallas, specifically Tarrant County.
Tarrant County.
Tarrant County. I don't know why I say it like that. And 3-6 against Tulsa, they'd make them go without pay for 70 years. You half jokingly say that. But my main question about SMU is, when they join the ACC, will they be ranked in the AP top 25 in the next 7 years. In the next 7 years, will they be ranked in the AP top 25? I'm not sold they will be.
Stretch. That's like saying Florida State's going to win a national championship this year.
I am not sold that they will be. I am not, Pete. So I think you're spot on. Expedition Greg, $5 more. Today is the 2-year anniversary of the epic failure, a.k.a. the historic alliance between the Pac-12, the ACC, and the Big Ten. One of George Kliavkoff's biggest mistakes.
Oh yeah, we're going to partner with the ACC and the Big Ten for our scheduling alliance, and it's not on paper; it's a handshake deal, but it's going to happen.
But there was, a huge mistake. Fake Tom Osborne.
Okay.
For $5. Breaking. SMU will also clean all ACC offices and carry the luggage for other teams for the next 7 years. Designated jock strap collectors. Yes, they will use the what is it? The white powder, the OxyClean. They'll oxy. They'll oxy all of the jock straps to get the stains out. It'll be. I mean, this is Dallas, folks.
Tarrant County.
It will be. Gabe Goobler for $5. Hey, Jakey Two Holes. The Bacavo is money.
Hey.
Listening to the showgram at Super Chicks in Ogden. How about that?
Just saying, dude, the Bacavo's gas.
That is a strong entry into the $100 Amazon gift card, I believe.
Yes.
But it's not better than Laura Weiss. Pew, pew.
Wow.
Let's go. Wreck 'em, Laura, who sends us a picture of her bucked up Miami. Look at you. Welcome to Texas, bucked up. But what about Florida? How about Maury Alvarez, the great Floridian with the family stocked up on the Mango Tango?
Mango Tango, baby.
He's got the Monty Show on in the background on the TV with the accent wall.
It's quite nice. I got to give him credit, dude. That's a nice accent.
Says watching the best sports talk on YouTube.
Is that
the Monty
a sound
Show
bar above the TV?
That is a sound bar.
Okay.
With some amazing Mango Tango from Bucked Up. Love both. Enjoy both on the regular. Let's go, Maury.
Boom.
Got to think Maury Alvarez is in the lead right there.
That's a pretty good one.
Yeah. How about that? He's got the family involved. And again, we told you guys, you take care of us, we take care of you. We got to 25,000 subs last night. So we are giving away a $100 Amazon gift card today. And all you have to do is interact with one of our partners on the show, the Advocates, TryDayTrading.com/Monty, Bucked Up, Papa Murphy's, Canyons Golf. Go book yourself $70 for a round of golf at one of the premier courses in the state of Utah, Canyons Golf. Hook it up, $70. Get you a round of golf, a luxury cart with GPS. It's an amazing golf experience. Canyons Golf. Or, hey, if you want to use the promo code Monty to sign up for Prize Picks, send us a screenshot that includes a deposit. By the way, when you use the promo code Monty, they give you 100% deposit matching. It's all good. At Prize Picks, there's a link in the description of the show below. Go click on that link. It's going to be awesome. Prize Picks was great. Real quick before we get to your comments, Jaron Eccles last night had more or less. He was playing 6 picks.
Mm-hmm.
He was 5 for 5, and he had Kershaw on more strikeouts. And the Dodgers got essentially postponed until today. So Kershaw did not pitch today, obviously. He was about to win $500 on Prize Picks. And then the rain came to Cleveland. Bummer.
Brutal.
Bummer.
Brutal.
That's why I love Prize Picks, though, because there's that bread there. Let's see who we got in the comments. Who is first in today? We always like to shout out our first in, and we've got already over 1,000 comments. Let's see. OG Gary, be right back. Gotta get stroked.
Gotta get stroked.
Oh, Brooks Koepka, we love you. OG says, damn, ACC getting Pac-12. Yeah, they are. Capazzo, what's up? I'm here early. Nice to see you, OG.
Yeah.
Good to see everybody. Mark Hale's in today. You guys are amazing. Too much gravy for my biscuits, says Fat. Okay.
Why are we saying fat?
That's awesome. Raider Mark says, speaking of Rice, will be the only former Southwest Conference school not in a P4. Truth. Derek Roche says SMU is bringing Dallas.
Right.
What, the DVD box set of Dallas, the TV show? Is that
Yeah, I know what time it is.
shot JR? Bobby Ewing was just taking a shower. It was all a dream. Too much gravy says, yo, two hacks. What's up? Lopes fan Gabe, anyone working in digital context who denies having a strategy to get clicks is lying. Hey, man, if you're not trying to get clicks, and this is the thing I love about being in the YouTube world.
Yeah.
People are like, you guys are just, it's all clickbait. You're trying to get people to click on it. Yeah, I know. Yes.
And somehow you clicked on it.
Way to pick up on that. Our whole job is to make sure that people, watch the show. That is the whole,
Excellent strategy, sir.
I love when people say that. You guys just want people to click on your show. Yeah, you're right. You're right. Jeremiah Champion, what's up with you? Kyle A says 1 week until the Utes play. Man, that's a huge game for the University of Utah. Kyle A, did you enter the Ute ticket giveaway? We are giving away a pair of tickets to see Utah and Colorado. And right now, I got to think Gary's got the, not OG Gary, the other Gary, has the lead.
Mm-hmm.
He sent us a stack of bucked up Banff on his counter, the pre-workout.
Yep.
For Colorado and Utah right around Thanksgiving. But all you have to do is interact with Bucked Up, send us a picture like I don't know, like Laura Weiss did, or like Maury Alvarez did. It's that simple. The best one will win a pair of tickets to see Utah host Colorado on November 25th. It's not very difficult, you guys.
Nope.
I think it's pretty easy. Thanks to our friends at Bucked Up. Let's see. John Famlor. Hello, John. Good to see you.
Hello, John.
FSU needs to talk to the Advocates.
Well,
they feel like they've been injured. Maybe they should.
Yeah.
What do you mean, Cougar Tracks? 25,000 wash hands. Is that like a high five? I think it is. Are we ever going to get over Arizona time? What time is that in Arizona? Whatever time it is.
I don't know. What time is it in Arizona?
Bryce Martin says, hell yeah, I love this show. I'm happy for you guys. Thank you, Bryce. Appreciate it. Lopes fan Gabe says, can I get that money in Prize Picks cash, though? Seriously. Look at everybody going to Prize Picks, you guys.
Do it.
It is amazing. Description in the link below. The more or less in Prize Picks for the NFL, amazing. Major League Baseball on Prize Picks, amazing.
Bomb.
Let's go. Let's play together. Hook it up. Derek Roche says they're acquiring.
But it's ACC. Acquiring, but ACC.
Jimmy Otson. Hey, Jimmy, good to see you, man. Stanford, Cal, and SMU, welcome to the Atlantic Coast. I mean, is the ACC a better conference for having Stanford and Cal?
I guess.
I don't think it's a definitive yes.
No.
Truly, I think it is a really nice pickup. I don't think it's oh, yeah, absolutely. Oh, man, you added Arizona, Arizona State, Colorado, and Utah. Oh, man, you're absolutely a better. Wait, what? You added USC, UCLA, Oregon, and Washington? Oh, you're better. You added Oklahoma and Texas? Oh, man. Right? Like, you're for real. You're a better conference.
Yeah.
Hey, you added Stanford and and you got SMU. Good on you, bro. I mean, that'll work out, sure. Nice job. All right.
Yippee.
All right. Okay. Alabama's playing. Got to go. All right. See you later.
It's true, though.
Seriously, if I'm not watching Clemson, who in that league in football? In the ACC, who's must watch in football?
We really did.
Clemson, Florida State. Is Florida State must watch? I mean,
depends on the game.
I would think so.
Florida State, LSU's must watch. Week 1.
Much watch. I would agree with that. I think Florida State is game to game. I think Clemson's every game because you expect Dabo to win every game.
But Wake
right?
Forest isn't must watch. Tech is not must watch. Virginia's not must watch.
North Carolina is. No, I mean top 25 team. Pitt is week to week, but North Carolina, Pitt, North Carolina, Miami, North Carolina, hell, North Carolina, South Carolina to kick off on September 2nd. Yeah, that's must watch.
Yeah.
That's must watch. Not for you, though.
No, I disagree. I don't think that's must watch. I think it's a nice little matchup. I'll watch it if there's not a better one on.
Wow. Okay, what about Miami?
Yeah,
Miami, Texas A&M, week 2.
Yeah, that's a good game.
I think that's a good game.
But it's a good game because it's A&M, not because it's Miami.
Ooh, ow. Miami, Florida State.
Yeah, that's
What is that? November 11th.
Yes, Miami, Florida State's a good game.
Miami's got a schedule. I mean, you look at they're playing A&M in week 2. Then for October 14th at North Carolina, home for Clemson, Virginia, at NC State, at Florida State, Louisville, and at Boston College. It's a hell of a second half for Miami.
Yeah.
Mario Cristobal better win games, by the way, because that's not going to be forever. Is Texas must watch?
Yes.
Absolutely. Oklahoma.
I think not initially.
Wow, you're hesitating.
Yeah, not initially, but I think if they get off to a nice little start, like they're 3-0, yeah.
They can earn that.
They can earn that, yeah, absolutely.
Wow, you're hesitating.
Yeah.
I'm surprised you're hesitating there.
I have options now. The Pac-12 I feel like has a lot of must-watch games. SC is must-watch product. I have to watch SC. Not that I'm going to get to watch them week 1.
Yeah,
but
how how ridiculous is that?
Yeah.
I listen. I think there is. Boy, that's really an interesting point. That is really. I think a lot of teams are week to week unless it's your team.
Yeah.
Like if you're a Texas fan, if you're Laura Weiss, you're watching every single Tech game.
Right.
If you're a Texas fan, if you're Mo, if you're Boss Frog, you're watching every TCU game.
Mm-hmm.
I'm watching every Notre Dame game. Jake is watching every Connie Christopher's Nail Salon Technical Institute game. Do you have a college football team?
I don't.
You don't?
Nope. I play the hits, biggest matchups, games that have.
I don't know. Last year, I'd have called you an Alabama fan.
I mean, I like Alabama. I'm not from there. I respect Nick Saban for his grind. I respect Nick Saban for the speeches he gives and what he talks about, and so he's more relatable. So yeah, I watch them. I'd rather see Alabama win than Georgia win. I could tell you that right now.
I think, for me, it's Notre Dame, Alabama. I think every Texas game until they lose, and then I'm probably out.
I'm just here for big-time college football games. Like if like I said, Miami, Florida State, that's probably a must-watch. That game's got a lot of heat in it.
But isn't every Texas Tech game must-watch because they have a chance? I mean, Joey McGuire is probably never going to be hotter than he is now. I think Texas Tech has a chance to be the media darlings of college football this year because they have massive games on their schedule. Is there a bigger game than Texas Tech and Oregon? Is there a bigger game than Texas Tech and Texas? Hell, Brett Yormark's talking about, hey, handle your business, coach.
Yeah, Tech TCU is a big game. I mean, Tech has a lot of games. Yeah, they do, but that's what I mean. Like, I'm not Texas Tech Southern Miss is not must watch, obviously, but I don't know, man. I think it's week to week. Or Texas Tech Wyoming is not must watch in week 1. Like it's week to week. I think that Alabama, I'm probably more willing to watch Alabama beat the hell out of whoever they have no business playing than I am, some run of the mill or a low end ACC team. Like I just want good football. That's what I want. I'm not generally speaking interested in a game where I already know what the outcome is. But like week 1 of the college football season is full of just terrible matchups as it is every single year, so that's a situation where I'm like, all right, well, we just got to try and find the best that we can get, in week 1. Like I pull up the schedule for week 1 and it's like, Notre Dame Navy, that'll be an entertaining game. Notre Dame Navy's always a nice early season entertainer.
That's in Dublin.
Yeah. But I look at some of these,
we're going undefeated.
Dude, 2 days from now, this Saturday, like
I'm watching US. Oh wait, I'm not. It's on.
No, you can't. You have it.
It's on the Pac-12.
No, YouTube TV has Pac-12 Network. It does.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I'm positive. Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah, it's true. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
probably still.
But generally speaking, I wouldn't be able to watch that unless I cut the cord. But like that's I guess
How
the best
funny is
game.
that you can watch Pac-12 Network because you cut the cord?
Yeah. Like, I mean,
That's
we're not
phenomenal.
really, like, I look a little forward into the college football schedule, and the 31st, Thursday, next Thursday, Utah, Florida.
It's Utah, Florida.
But other than that, like, I don't know what else you're really
Utah,
holding
Florida.
on to.
Well, and that's a pretty good game to hang on to. Lance Johnson for $9.99 says, why is UT winning about Yormark's comment at Tech? They are serving a year of community service to save $80 million. Shut up, know your place, and take it. And know your place. Go Yormark, Big 12, go Pokes, ride them. What do you mean? Like,
I don't understand that.
Why is UT whining about Yormark's because if you're Texas and the Big 12 commissioner, who you're still currently a member of, is rooting for your opponent, you wouldn't be upset about that. I mean, I love it. I love it. But, of course, Texas should be pissed about that. And if I'm Texas Tech, by the way, I'm not real thrilled he said that.
Mm-hmm.
Because you can't tell me that Sark hasn't put that up on a billboard already. You can't tell me that Sark hasn't run that tape through practice already.
Yeah. Certainly.
Do you think that Steve Sarkisian isn't telling every one of his Longhorns, hey, they don't want us here, they hate us, they're rooting against us? Hey, every time we win, it rubs salt in the wound to the Big 12? I'm not thrilled if I'm Texas Tech that Brett Yormark said that.
Yeah.
I'm not, and I know that Reckham was like, oh, that's amazing. Well, you might want to rethink that.
Yeah, Rackham's going to get hooked real quick.
That's a massive game.
Yeah.
That is a massive game for both clubs, and I don't think Texas needed any more motivation than they already had.
Mm-hmm.
Because you and I both know they believe they should go undefeated this year.
100%.
Will they? Probably not. But they didn't need your help. That's why, Lance, with all due respect, that's why I would be pissed if I were Texas.
Yeah.
And if I'm Steve Sarkisian, I'm actually very happy about it.
Yeah.
I'm upset. Whew, all right, he gave us motivation. I can't believe the disrespect that we are seeing from Brett Yormark. Thank you. Thank you, Lord. Right? Like, publicly, you're pissed.
It's true.
Privately, you're like, let's go. Like,
And that's how I look at it.
Texas, and I know this is not a popular take. I totally get it. But what that tells me is Texas is living rent-free.
Oh, dear. Oh, my.
You're living rent-free, man.
What are you, Joe Ingles and Paul George?
But y'all you're living rent-free.
Yeah.
And the hardest part about that is everybody already hated Texas. Then the SEC move came and the early year, and now everybody really hates Texas. And the moment they lose, see, they always lose. They always disappoint. Horns down, bitches. Like, that's what it's going to be. You know that's what it's going to be. You know that's what it's going to be.
Yeah.
Repeatedly. Fake Tom Osborne for $10. I see peeps comparing New England to Florida State. Is that Nebraska to Nebraska? When's the last time Nebraska tried to throw its weight around? During COVID, when they wanted to play football, Ohio State also wanted to play. Nebraska isn't as delusional as everyone thinks. No, I don't think they are. I think they'd rather be in the Big 12. They'd rather be in the Big 12.
Yeah.
And I think it's all well and good you're getting $100 gazillion payday, but you'd rather be in the Big 12. It is Big 12. You have been invisible, not irrelevant, invisible.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. I'll need to check. I don't believe Lincoln, Nebraska is even on maps in the United States anymore.
Yeah.
That's how invisible.
Hey, you just haven't done anything. You've just not been on the map.
But I love Trev Alberts. He's one of my favorite guys ever. And I am a huge believer in Trev's ability to revive that program. And he hired a little head coach you might have heard of who looks awfully motivated to bring Cornhusker football back. So I think you're in a good place. Big shout out to Phenomenal Hebrew.
Phenomenal.
Let's go, Phenomenal. Appreciate you and everybody else who's joining the show.